right, so what we're working with for this lesson is measuring, constructing angles, and then we're also going to use the angle addition postulate, which is similar to the segment addition postulate, but this time it's going to be one small angle plus another small angle equals the big angle. So it'll be pictures that look like this. And so if this angle's 40 and this angle's 30, then 40 plus 30 gives us the whole thing as 70. Okay, and then we're also going to be using segment and angle bisectors. Remember to bisect something that cuts in half. So an angle bisector looks like this. I have an angle, and a bisector cuts it in half. Now when you have a bisector, the way you show that they're equal is you put arcs. So one arc equals one arc, or two arcs equals two arcs. And so that's what a segment bisector is. Just review of the other vocabulary. Remember, acute angle is less than 90 degrees. A right angle is 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is greater than 90, but it's also less than 180. So it's somewhere in between 90 and 180. And then a straight angle is 180. Now there are some pieces of the angle that we need to make sure we understand. This is the angle. This piece right here, that's the vertex. And then the main thing you're going to have is you're going to have the inside and outside. The interior is in here, and you're going to have to know where the interior is in order to do problems like this here. And then the exterior of the angle is everything on the outside. All this out here is part of the exterior angle. Oops, I'm hitting the wrong buttons here. Draw. So that's all exterior, okay? Congruent angles we'll talk about in a second, but congruent angles is when things are congruent, are equal. I don't think I left space for that. I don't know where that went. Okay, so then when angles are equal, one thing that we have to know is angle measures is denoted by an M and then the angle in front, the angle sign. It also could be M with this angle. I will put the arc on it so that you don't think it looks like an out. But the measure of angle, let's say ABC, is 50 degrees. Measures have numbers. When you talk about things being congruent, remember this is our congruent symbol. Congruent deals with shapes. So I cannot say that an angle is congruent to a number, but I can say that angle A is congruent to angle BAC. So remember the difference between measures and congruent. Measures is numbers, congruent is shapes. All right, so let's look at some of the pictures. What I'd like you to do is try and draw number one and then press pause to unpause it when you think you have it. All right, so hopefully you drew an angle. Remember the middle letter is the vertex and it must go in the center. So A, C, D, and it says B is somewhere in the interior. So I'm going to draw B. And then I can connect them. And now I could do my angle addition postulate, which is the measure of angle ACB plus the measure of angle BCD equals the measure of the whole thing, ACD. And I'm going to highlight this because sometimes it can be difficult to see. So ACB right here is this angle in here, A to C to B. It's that angle. And then angle BCD is this bottom angle down here. And then the last one is the whole thing, ACD, which is the whole angle from A to C to D. Now, if I put some numbers on the picture, we should be able to get it. If I say that this is 30 and this is 20, then the whole thing is 50. But now, if I say that the top one is 60 and the whole thing is 75, how do I find the bottom one? Well, remember 60 plus something is 75. And so what we could do is we could subtract to find out that that something's 15. Because one small piece plus the other small piece equals the whole thing. All right, let's look at number 2. Start off with this first one. Don't worry about the bottom one. Let's just look at the first one where it says A is in the interior of C, B, and D. So I'm going to stick A somewhere in the interior. Now here's the issue. D, I cannot draw another D. I also cannot draw another A and another B. Oops, I forgot to put the A there. So I have to draw an E, and I have to draw an E so that this point D, right here, is in the interior. Well, the only way that I can make it in the interior is if I extend this down, and now here is A, B, E, and D is in the interior. So sometimes you're going to have pictures that are combined and you just take them one step at a time. Remember, you can only write a letter once. All right, let's look at what happens when I bisect. Now, when I bisect, what's nice about this is that they're not going to have a bunch of different stuff, and they're not going to give you stuff you don't need, like with the segment bisector. So I need to draw this angle. I need to draw angle cat. So I'm going to draw my angle. CAT, and it's bisected by AB, so it's going to cut it in half, and that's kind of in half. And then I'm going to put arcs to show that they're equal. Well, if this angle's 30, then this other one's 30, which means the whole one is 60. Well, what if I ask you to find one angle if I tell you the whole thing is 82? What plus what is 82? Well, hopefully you recognize that, oh, I can just divide by 2. So 41 plus 41 is 82. All right, let's look at the next one, number 4. So it says angle ABD, ABD. And it says I'm going to bisect it at BE. So I bisect, but really to make it bisect, you put the arcs out, and that's how you tell it's bisected. And then put an E here. So if the top one was 25, the bottom one's 25. Okay. All right, let's start to look at the problems that get a little harder because you have equations. Now what's nice is you're just going to start with the same process of drawing the problem, drawing the picture. And so my first picture I have to draw is angle ACD. So I have angle ACD, and I have B somewhere in the interior. Doesn't really matter. Now when I draw things and put things there, I like to put it inside so I can see it. So the first one I have to do is ACB. ACB is right here, so that's X plus 6. So I try and squeeze it down in that angle. And then the next one I have is ACD. ACD is the whole thing. So whenever I have the whole thing, I put an arc out here. So the whole thing's 39. And then the last one we have is BCD. BCD, which is this bottom one. Well, remember the rule is one small piece plus the other small piece equals the whole thing. So x plus 6 plus 2x minus 9 equals 39. And so I'm going to combine my like terms. So an x can go with a 2x, which gives me 3x. 6 and a negative 9 is a negative 3. To get rid of a minus 3, I'm going to add 3. So I get 3x is 42. And now I'm going to divide by 3. So I get x is 14. Now I don't know if I'm done. I always have to go back and look at my problem. And if you notice, it just says solve for x. So we are done. We found our answer. But again, the key to finding the answer was to first draw the picture, and then one small piece plus the other small piece equals the whole thing. All right, last problem. Again, I'm going to draw my angle, and it says angle BDC. BDC. Now this one says it bisects, and then underline that it bisects. Well, bisect means it cuts it in half, so I'm going to put it in the middle. And again, when it cuts it in half, I put the arcs to know that they're the same. Now, the other part of that is A, and I'm going to put my numbers on my picture. B to D to A is 5x plus 6. And then A to D to C, the bottom angle is 3x minus 18. And now I can't find the whole thing because I don't have any information. But I do know that these are bisected, so I can set those equal to each other. So I minus a 3x on both sides. So these cross off, so I have 2x plus 6 is negative 18. Minus 6 on both sides, so I get 2x is negative 24. And so I divide by 2. Now, usually you don't have a negative. I believe that I have made a mistake and I wrote a bad equation. So to fix this, let's go ahead and change this to a plus 18. And I'll double check them more when you have tests and stuff, so I do apologize for that. And so now 18 plus 6, let's erase this. 18 minus 6, where's my mouse? Oh, there it is 12, and now that works. So I'll do a better job of making sure that we get positive numbers. Okay, so x is 6, so let's read the problem. Let me get my highlighter. Now the problem is I don't see anywhere where it says solve for x. It says find the measure of BDC. Well, BDC is this whole thing. So I need to find that whole thing. Well, you know what x is. So what I'm going to do is instead of x, I'm going to write a 6. So it'll become 5 times 6 plus 6, which is 30 plus 6, which is 36. Now I can plug it in here, and I should get the same thing because it's bisected, but let's double check. So 18 plus 18 is 36. So I have one small angle that's 36 and the other small angle that's 36. So that means that the whole thing is 72. So again, the biggest thing that you have to do is you have to start off by drawing the picture and labeling everything. And then you're going to either do one small piece plus another small piece equals the whole thing. Or if it's bisected, you could have to say that things are equal.